Hello, my name is Dr. Andrew Kluesner. I'm a physician in the Christie Clinic, Department of Podiatric Medicine, specializing in foot and ankle surgery. And I'm going to be talking today about barefoot running. Recently there's been a lot of hot interest in this topic in the running community, and I think for people who will be training and interested in the Christie Clinic Illinois Marathon, it's a topic that is worth some discussion. First of all, I'd like to talk to you about a normal gait running with a shoe on, and then what the difference is with barefoot running, and we'll discuss the pros and cons of both. Here I have a running shoe, and you can see that it has some stability in the heel and into the front part of your foot. Typically when people wear running shoes, they run in a heel to toe type gait where most of the absorption of the pressure goes into the heel. Alright, the difference between running barefoot is that when you run barefoot, typically the normal way to run is that you put most of the pressure onto the front part of your foot, which is different. And the main reason that is different are the main benefits that are kind of thought of with barefoot running. First of all, you have muscles inside of your foot, in the inside portion of your foot, that normally with a shoe on do not get much exercise, so a lot of times they become weak. One of the thoughts with barefoot running is that because you're using those muscles more, they become strengthened, and as they become strengthened, it actually helps to support your foot better and along the arch of your foot. So people who run barefoot typically run more onto their toes. Their calf muscles tend to work a little bit more to absorb the shock, and it's actually thought that it's actually there's less strain on the body with the barefoot running. One of the other things that sometimes is discussed when it comes to barefoot running is that because you're using the body's own muscles to absorb shock instead of a shoe, that gradually these muscles can be strengthened that they normally wouldn't be when you're wearing a shoe. So the strain that the body absorbs is a little bit different when you run barefoot, as well as how you run is a little bit different. Typically people who run barefoot run with shorter stride lengths, and their foot hits the ground more frequently. Instead of the heel hitting the ground, again, it's the front part of their foot, and the calf muscles seem to absorb more of the shock instead of the heel, and that can cause decreased pressures on the knee and the hip throughout the body. One of the cons with barefoot running would be that if you've ever had a foot problem or you have some foot deformity that requires you to wear a special insert in your shoe or something called an orthotic, obviously you will not have that in your shoe if you're running barefoot. So people who have foot problems to begin with, many times, especially if you have very flat feet or if you've had significant problems with very high arched feet, it may not be a good idea to try this. But in general, if you don't have foot problems, it's really not a bad idea to possibly incorporate it into your training. The major thing that we get concerned about when it comes to barefoot running would be exposure to things of the environment, possibly stepping on a piece of glass, getting an infection, a cut in your foot, other things like that. If you can kind of control that and you make sure that you don't put your foot in those types of environments, it's generally safe. Certain people who have diabetes, neuropathy, or any problems with circulation in their legs, barefoot running would not be a good idea, as it puts them at risk for possible wounds or other infections in their feet. So in general, I think that there's been a lot of information of barefoot running in magazines and in the running community, and I think that although the jury's still out, there are certain benefits that you strengthen the muscles inside your foot, possibly decrease the shock absorption in your foot, and you allow for some of the natural ability of your foot to absorb shock, and the muscles inside your foot that normally don't get strengthened to get strengthened. And the things we need to watch out for are, you don't want to have any problems with stepping on anything, avoid anything in the environment that could cause scrapes, scratches, or infections in your foot. But if you don't have a pre-existing foot problem, it may be something that you want to gradually incorporate into your running program.